Hello, right. So I'll do a live stream for a little while. I won't be on too long tonight. Because today I've been sort of busy in the sense of a lot of today I've had to wait in for a parcel. That's finally done now. So that's good. So it means I can sort of relax a bit more and do whatever because I won't need to go running to the door, or miss a parcel I'd have to pay to have redelivered. So hopefully YouTube does notify people that I'm on because obviously sometimes it doesn't. Vivo, is that H and Oval, says hello. Or Hangman, hello to you. All right, Dan. After talking about all those holsters and everything the other stream, none of them would fit. So I've ordered a rucksack to put that air pistol in because I didn't realise quite how big the suppressor was on that. All right, Alex. I'm all right, thanks. Yeah, but Dan, I didn't quite realise how big the suppressor was. It's mostly used as a grip to help you break the barrel, but I didn't realise how big that was. It's nearly a 50 centimetre long air pistol, like if you go from the back to the front. So I've just ordered a small size rucksack for it to go in because I could not find a single kind of messenger bag that went above 35 centimetres or any of those. So rather than it being worn as webbing, it would just have to go in a backpack. I've got like a decent military surplus one coming. Yeah, I was expecting it to be handgun size or a bit bigger because I didn't look at the dimensions. It is literally, really big in terms of. I've answered this quite a few times before, Vivo, but you get FP5 and P5 filters. If you get the one that's 40mm GOST, it will go on GOST threads. If you get the one that isn't, it won't. That's a simple answer. Depends on which version of the filter you get, and they're not all labelled correctly either, as I've been over before. Don't think so. I don't even know where Lutterworth is, so the answer is most likely no. There's one in the background, yes. There's a gas mask in the background. Don't even know which one the D6 is, but let me look it up. My actual air pistol that's like an airsoft type one that just shoots like pellets at like 2 foot-pounds or whatever. That's the size of an actual gun. It's to scale. But this thing, obviously, because of all the gas mechanism and the thing to make it easier. I can't see anything coming up in Google Images that would be the mask you're on about, so you have to specify what mask it actually is. If it's a children's mask, it won't fit me, so a bit pointless. And it's probably quite rare if it's a children's version of like a 1940s mask. I'd rather people didn't spam the comments with just names of random masks. But anyway, what was I going to say regarding the thing? What I will do, Dan, is later in the week I want to get at least a sort of short video up on that air pistol, so it should be obvious when you watch that how big it is. The actual like pistol frame of it and all that isn't too big. It looks just kind of like a chunky Magnum sort of size thing. It's just because it's got that massively kind of long suppressed barrel, so you can break it easier. Right, David? But yeah, so it is surprisingly long barrel on it. That's what surprised me. That I thought looking at it compared to other air pistols, it'd be a much shorter barrel, but I think they've just done this so you can grip on it easily. So yeah, I probably mentioned in my review that I'm not going to recommend it for the reason I bought it for now, just because you can't conveniently carry it on you. But saying that, I wonder if there's any air pistols with a break barrel that are close to 6 foot-pounds that are actually a sensible length. Let me look up with one of those SMK air pistols what the length for those are. SMK air pistol with the break barrel ones. I think it was the Synergy one, the ones Mike thought might be alright. Does it have the length on here? Uh, this site doesn't even specify the length of it. Well, with one of the other decent power ones, it's a 7-inch barrel. So that would be like 14 plus centimeters, wouldn't it, for the barrel alone? So yeah, most of them are going to be, by the look of it, like, 30 to 50 centimeters. All right, Flazzy. The air pistol I got, I don't know if you're on the other stream we're talking about it. I bought one for like Humane Dispatch of like pests, so I won't go on about it too much in the stream. But the annoying thing I didn't realise, I can obviously carry it in like a small rucksack, is it's nowhere close to being pistol sized, being an air pistol, that gets to 6 foot-pounds. So basically, what you get, and I can't obviously show it on the stream because of YouTube policies if I pick it up, but the actual barrel on it is probably, even the brake barrel bit is kind of like a short rifle barrel. It's a bit like a carbine. So the pistol itself doesn't look stupidly big, but then you've got the really long sort of suppressed barrel on it. So again, it will be fine for like people that want to target shoot with it. I just never realized looking at videos just how quite big it is, which I'll mention in my review of it, when I do it, that yeah, if you're thinking about getting it as kind of a conveniently small air pistol to carry somewhere, obviously completely legally carry and all that, I'll have to specify that. It's not convenient really to fit in a pocket like I thought it might. I was thinking of large pockets, but it's nowhere close to the size of a regular pistol. I'll actually, for scale in the video, I think I'll put a pistol next to it so you can see. I can still make use of it, Fuzzy, and it will still be good. It's just, yeah, and now when I was looking up some of the other full size pistols, it's the exact same problem with all of those. Literally all of them are like 40 to 50 centimeters in length. And I'm assuming that's just due to the, like barrel length plus size of the gun frame plus like gas piston type thing or spring piston. It's an Umarex one. I can't remember. Is it Umarex Trevor? It's called. But if you look at the size of that one compared to the size of other similar full power air pistols, like under UK law, before you go to 12 foot-pounds, and they have to have like a stock on them. They're all about that size, give or take a few centimeters, which I didn't realize at the time because they just appear in the same lists as all the other air pistols. So you can get quite small air pistols with like a cocking lever on them or whatever, but they're all like 2 foot-pounds of that. So this is quite a good one supposedly in terms of accuracy for an air pistol and everything else, but it's still, like if you compared it to the size of a regular handgun. Does it still work all right, Flazzy, or do you need to replace parts on it? Let's have a quick look up what's on the news while I'm waiting for some more comments to come in. Just a load of random things in news. Some of the stuff to do with Ukraine, some of the stuff to do with royals, whatever. I suppose £100 it's not bad, yeah, especially if it's been serviced. But yeah, this thing is basically, like I said, the fit and finish on it's really nice. It's just far bigger than I expected. But again, if I'd have read all the reviews online that said about measurements, I'd have been fine. But I didn't even think about that. What's that, a 177, Dan, or a BB gun? All right, Rich? And when I say, I know you can get 177 BBs, so is it like 6mm BBs, like an airsoft one, or is it if that's 177 pellets, that'll be roughly 4.5 foot-pounds. So this thing looks like it will be quite good for plinking stuff, and you still could use it for like same humane dispatch type stuff on small animals. It's just like I said, it's one of those things where, in hindsight, if I knew the size of it, I'd probably still say it's better just to go with 11 foot-pound air rifle or whatever. But again, I'll show that in the video. It's still much smaller than an air rifle. It's just way bigger than the pistol that I thought, if that makes sense. What I could probably show a good size comparison to in the video is, that PM63 machine pistol I've got. It's sort of that sort of size. It's definitely like smaller than an SMG would be, but it's about machine pistol size, Oh, you are, Connor. Have you got all the right stuff so you can get it without it being two-tone or whatever? Or are you in the right place so you don't have to bother with two-tone one? Because the weird thing in the UK is if you buy like an air pistol, it doesn't need to be two-tone without any of the things, but an air soft gun does. Which no, I don't have a PRVU. If that's the like rocket fueling one, no, I don't have that. But yeah, that's the only thing that's ever put me off airsoft. And I know there is there are ways you can legally get around the rules, but I've just never been asked to do it. Because, when it really only applies to airsoft guns and blank firers, I keep thinking, oh, maybe I will at some point, and never do. There's nobody called Rick on here, as far as I'm aware in the chat. Yeah, I was saying it's annoying fuzzy. I think it's just because of like knee-jerk rules, where they did a thing at one point where they restricted BB guns a lot, because just like when I say BB guns, I mean airsoft guns essentially, because like chavs are shooting at each other with them. All right, Comet, can you get a blank firing one? Because blank fire is a lot more fun than BB guns, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm all right, thanks, Jace. But you still didn't answer who Rick is. Right, anybody suggesting illegal stuff is just getting banned as a channel policy. Again, don't do anything to break the laws in whatever country you're in, especially with gun laws, because then it just makes the laws worse on everybody else. So no, don't illegally manufacture firearms is the answer to that. I'll get round in the next couple of days to filming a video on that Northern Ireland Mark II vest. And for Dan, I did measure it compared to my UCBA, and yeah, the panels are a lot smaller, probably about an inch shorter on either diameter. I just thought it was funny. I'll show that in the video that you can get the UCBA panel, and it's like, oh, it's that much bigger than the pocket. Fair enough, Chase. I thought you were calling me Rick then. I've heard you can, Connor, but the thing is, I've never actually seen any for sale for auto blank firers. Yeah, well, it's just strange, isn't it, Dan, that they came up with one size of plate, then went to a vest with no plates, and then went back to a vest with small plates, but they're bigger small plates. No, I generally, as a rule, dislike Reddit, and it's not against Reddit as a platform as wholes. It's that a lot of the Reddits I've seen just turn into kind of like, what's the word for it? It's like where people want to get as many upvotes as possible, so it's never really about the subject matter. The only good Reddits I've seen are the ones that have entry requirements, and then they can be really annoying to actually make the entry requirements, because you can't just make a Reddit account and talk on there. You need to have like a pre-existing Reddit account for however long, how have had enough upvotes on another Reddit, and then so you then have to waste time on other Reddits trying to get upvotes to go on that Reddit, which I don't see it worth, being worthwhile. Yeah, you can get air rifles in all sorts of calibers. It's just obviously in the UK there's not much of a market for them. because once you get into the high caliber air rifles, to get them up to a good speed, they need to take the power limit for a non-firearm certificate one. And most people who get an FAC would probably just rather buy a real gun at that point. That's fairly good stuff, Jedi, but as I said, I'm still not going to spend that money on like a mask like that. I mean, bear in mind that if you're buying through eBay, you do get buyer protection. Yeah, because again, Plazzy, I suppose the thing is, if, like I was saying, if you need an FAC to get one, when you get an FAC, you might as well just buy a 22 long rifle and then whatever bigger caliber sort of bolt action you want. But yeah, Rich, like I was saying, there's a Ukraine Reddit that's quite good where I've been seeing posts on it, and most of the posts are actually quite well good thought out posts. But you can't post on it because you need to have an unspecified amount of upvotes from other Reddits. And then when I went on some other Reddits where I've actually got knowledge on the subject and tried to answer questions, I just got downvoted because I didn't give people like a really simple, easy answer. Like I've ranted about that quite a lot before, but where there's like a YouTube related Reddit and somebody has a question regarding how do you do something on YouTube and you explain it exactly. And then they thumb you down because, oh, that's hard work. I don't want to do that. And again, I know there are good Reddits, but I think they're quite few and far between. And again, the ones that have entry requirements are probably good because they have entry requirements. It means you can't just keep making like anonymous accounts to go on there and talk shit. But yeah, I did a quick video on it. It's a cool mask, but it's not a mask I'd recommend for most people. You have to be quite an enthusiast or, have the stuff to make use of it over other masks. Yeah, that's the thing, Rich. Yeah, as long as they send it out to you quick enough that if there's a problem, you can sort it out in that 30-day period, you're all right. Yeah, like I said, there are cool looking big caliber air rifles. It's just in the UK, there's not really a market for them, I don't think. Now, if you're in the US or somewhere and you could just buy it really easily, they might be more of a cool thing to get. Assuming that the air rifle pellets are a good price. Because if the air rifle pellets for them in the big calibers are like more obscure than cartridges, there's not much point, is there? Again, still, if you're paying more per, lead pellet or whatever than you are paying for a similar round of ammunition. Again, then it's just kind of a pointless thing because you also need the air reservoir for it. Yeah, well, it'll be quite similar to your C50, just with more features, basically, the FM53, because it is a very similar mask in terms of face piece. I mean, what I personally would like the most, Fuzzy, with air rifles is, again, it's not UK legal without an FAC, but some countries don't have these laws on them. You can buy, like the 20 to 40 foot-pounds 177 or 22 break barrels, where they're quite a strong cocking maneuver, or some of them have the multi-pump sort of cocks on, but that's still quite a good thing that, you can have a self-contained gun with, just a tin of pellets in your pocket and then still have something that would shoot, fast enough to be roughly the power of a 22 long rifle, I guess. I don't know what the muzzle velocity is actually at 22 LR. Let me look this up a second. 22 long rifle. Um, the foot pounds is about 100 to 200 foot pounds of energy, depending on the type of cartridge and how long a barrel it's shot from. So again, about maybe a third of the power of a typical 22 LR, like say a Ruger 22 compared to one of those, but it's still fairly good for what it is. I don't have the M50 anymore, but I mean, well, I'd like it more than M50 simply for the fact that you could put 40mm filters on. But again, I don't have the C50, so. Yeah, again, that would be more useful, wouldn't it, Rich? Basically, having just a simple casting system for them. Chase, my favourite World War II mask is probably the Finnish M39 or Finnish Type 39, whatever it's called. The Finnish civilian one that's a bit like a German VM37, but is made to higher quality. I think, Dan, as well, they come under different rules to some of the guns in the US. So I think if you're a felon or whatever, you're able to buy an air rifle where you can't buy regular firearms. So I think you can buy black powders, can't you, if you've got a criminal record and air guns, but you can't buy legally anyway. You know, like conventional guns, like modernish guns, if you know what I mean. Again, it's maybe different states have different laws. I don't know. It's just more the fact that I'd probably buy one for the novelty of it if they were cheap enough in Europe, you know, in one of those countries. But again, I know there are some countries where their gun laws aren't really strict, but there's still, you know, all these like rules and caveats to it where you can just buy an air rifle and keep it in your cupboard and it doesn't fall under the same thing. Hope you enjoy it anyway, Justin. I've got loads of DPM camo. Do you mean Woodland 95 DPM? I've got Woodland 95, Desert 95, and loads of MTP stuff. I don't think I've got anything to hand in those camo patterns, but I've definitely got the full sets of those things. The only thing I've got coming in the post of interest now is I'm trying to think. I have got an AR 500 plate coming actually, just because again I know like they're not as good as ceramic plates and everything, but I did think because there was one I got quite cheap. I might just see if it fits in any of the body armors just to do like a rigged up video, you know, showing like here's a relatively cheap AR 500 plate I got. You know, whether you can still get more at that price. Will it fit well enough in any of my body armors? All right, Bloody Monday. So yeah, the first video this week will definitely be on that Northern Ireland body armor, which I doubt many people will watch, but it's still an interesting thing because you don't see that many, you know, people who've got hold of them. Then later on in the week, I'll do one either on the air pistol or whatever. I'd rather do it on the air pistol, but like I said, there's also some other stuff. I don't know until it comes, Flazzy. I didn't see the weight of it. It might be. Yeah, no, AR 500 steel, Dan. They're the ones that are meant to be used as rifle targets for you know, shooting at a range and not spalling and falling apart. I'd have to be careful at Stoic Jedi just to not make something that sounds like I might be encouraging a rule breaking. That's why I don't do it anymore. Yeah, I mean, the steel plate Flazzy I've got on my Polish body armor is very heavy. It's just more of the sake that you can get these plates, like, you know, quite cheap for ones that are meant to be shot over and over and over again at a range without falling apart. I'm just wondering, you know, how well it would fit in some body armor. Today, Bloody Monday, waiting in all day for the dog. I'm not waiting for, right, start again. Walk the dogs in the morning. And after I walked the dogs, all of this afternoon, I was waiting in for an air pistol delivery because it's the one where they have to check all your ID and enter it into a system. No, yeah, it's better than what the Russians are, but exactly, Dan, that's the thing. I could compare it in thickness as well to the Polish plates I've got, that like level 3, I think the Polish ones. And the Polish ones, you know, where it's metal, then they've got a big foam bit to try and reduce spalling, and then they go in front of the Kevlar, which again is to try and catch spalling fragments. But yeah, the air pistol wasn't too late. It was just obviously you're meant to give them a couple of hours, you know, like time window. And it's one of those things you have to be in to sign for. You can't have anybody else sign for it or whatever because of how they do like the registration on their guns. So that came, I think it was about 20 past 6 in the end, half 6. I'll have to look into that one as well, Fluzzy. If it fits well and works well, I'll look into that because there's definitely a few vests I reckon for all right money you could make cheap chest rigs with that way. The thermoplastics I've got, Stoic Jedi, the only good thermoplastics I've got are that helmet and a Chinese helmet somewhere that's the same sort of plastic. Not as good as the British one, but it would still stop handgun rounds fine. I've not seen any of the proper mixes of thermoplastic for sale that aren't being sold deliberately as plates, and then they're expensive and normally sold out, or they're like US only and you have to pay a load of import tax. Yeah, in reality, Dan, it is, because it's the best stuff that's really available in terms of weight to, ability to stop stuff. Because if ever you see the videos on these type of helmets being shot, they can stop 7.62 NATO, which I still find amazing. Like, whether or not your neck or your head would be intact after that, I don't know. There's a lot of back-face deformation. But the fact that, the helmet physically stops a 7.62 NATO round, where they only officially rate these up to pistol rounds, so they don't get sued over it, is quite amazing. Well, all I'm going to say with that is I hate it when people ruin rare masks to turn them into some weird cum bucket mask. There you go. Yeah, the Virtus is definitely a helmet you want to pick up, Stoic Jedi, isn't it? If you see one at a price you can afford, because of the chance of going onto the civilian mask. Yeah. Well, that's not actually a Mark 7, Dan. That's the Virtus, the one that replaced it. So this one is essentially the same thing as the current US service helmet, just slightly different. I don't think, Pink Panda, you can have a 1983 S10, can you? Because I'm sure they didn't enter service at that point. But yeah, these are good, as in they weigh a bit less than Kevlar, but they do offer better protection. But again, I really like the Mark 7. There's loads of those going to Ukraine now, which is good. But yeah, these are the sort of helmets that are definitely worth picking up if you see them at the right price. I know, I really like the Mark 7 as well. It's bulky, but it's more likely to save your life than a lot of other Kevlar helmets are, just simply due to the size and bulk of it. So, there's that. I'm sure I've already done that, Stoic Jedi. I could do another one, but I'd have to make sure I'm not doing stuff I've already done. Good evening, Potent. That the Mark 6 masks are barely on the surplus market anymore because Britain's sending any of the stock that the MOD still owns now to Ukraine. So basically, no more will go onto the service market in a sense that aren't already owned and traded by people, because all the ones the MOD still has left aren't going to trickle onto the surplus market. They're now getting sent straight to Ukraine, unless they sell off the ones they didn't seem fit to send. Because there's a video where the soldiers are sorting through them, looking for the good condition ones to send to Ukraine, and then the ones that aren't in good condition, they were just essentially chucking in another pile. So whether or not those just get binned or they do go on eBay, I don't know. The Mark 6A for £60 to £130, if you're on about that, isn't a bad price, because the Mark 6A is actually Kevlar, just the regular Mark 6 isn't. What mask are you on about, Pink Panda? Yeah, if it's on the bag, though, bear in mind, it could be that you've got an older satchel that they've just put it in, like an S6 satchel. The date will be on the side of the mask. If you look on the mask, there'll be like a rubber print stamp on the mask. Yeah, that's a very good price, Dan, if you can still get them for that price. But what I'm saying now is they're definitely going up in price. But I think that was about 200 quid when I got that one. Again, it was worth that for what it is, just due to the rarity of them. But yeah, generally I don't pay more than £100 for like a Kevlar helmet. It has to be, pretty rare to pay that sort of price for it. And if it's a helmet that, I wouldn't trust at all, and I wouldn't pay very much for it at all unless it was, a very collectible old helmet, but I don't really collect things like that anymore. Yeah, that came, Stuart, a couple of weeks ago. I did do a video on it. It's just quite obvious where I put it there. I don't know actually how badly the Mark 6 did in tests. The problem with it wasn't so much shrapnel penetration, which I imagine still isn't good. It was the fact that it wouldn't stop 9mm or anything like that. All right, Joshua? But the Mark 6A fixes that because it's actually Kevlar. But again, if you know anything about military procurement from all over the world, quite often stuff goes into service because somebody decides they want it in service, not because of how well it does in tests. Yeah, what I've not seen with the Mark 6 is how well it stops shrapnel compared to the Mark 4 helmet. Because again, if it stopped shrapnel a fair bit better than the Mark 4 and met other requirements they wanted in a helmet, that might be why it went into service. But obviously, the Mark 6 does not stop 9mm well at all, or things that even some other steel pot stop. Yeah, or because it's cheap. Exactly. But there's been a lot of weird military things in the past where they have a very set amount of requirements for something, and the thing that wins isn't the best thing. It's because it's closest to the requirements they have. Like cost per unit, doing a very specific thing, even if it's all round bad. If you paid 40 quid and it's in good condition, you didn't get ripped off at all. It's just a lot of people want to make as much money as possible on them now. Yeah, it's nice. Again, I want to put it up on the wall, but then it would be even harder to see, so I probably won't bother now. Yeah, again, the Scott GSR, though, I think was a part of the problem was their weird requirements they had. Because if they'd have fielded a test for 40mm masks, they'd have had a lot more entries, and they'd probably have found something cheap that was a bit better. Again, yeah, the problem with GSR was it was the cheaper option out of that and the M50, a competition between two masks only. Because to start a surplus shop, you need to constantly be importing and exporting stuff. So what's the point? I do sell stuff occasionally, but I said that's just now and again selling stuff I've already done videos on. Yeah, sadly I can't take it down potent, but it is a cool gun. Yeah, don't forget, Stoic, that obviously you need to apply for a refund on it or whatever before it gets too late. So if it takes too long to do stuff, you need to just go for your refund on it. Otherwise, you might not get a refund. It might not turn up. But again, like I said, at the moment, I would not want to order anything from Ukraine, not as against things from Ukraine, but I doubt all the stuff is moving in and out of the country as normal. Oh, you've got your money back. That's good. But yeah, like I was saying, at the moment, if there's a country that's at war and most of their logistics stuff is getting supplies in and stuff like that, I doubt their commercial markets are going to work as normal. Well, if they turn up on the DAC market down for sensible money, as in 500 to £1,000 maybe, then I might get one. But when they're at the moment, like when they turn up as 1.5 grand plus, I'm never paying that for an L85 A1. As much as I like the look of it visually, I wouldn't pay that for it. Especially when you could get an AUG, for example, for a third of that price, which is pretty much the same thing, just better. Tab in the lab. If you've got a question, ask the question. Don't say you've got a question. And again, as I've said, ask your question. Don't keep spamming. I've got a question. Yes, Pink Panda. I've got a PMK of one sort, and some of the other civil versions of the PMK and all those. Yeah, it might get through. I don't know, but like I said, with all that stuff, it just depends really where it got posted, how it was posted, and all that. Yeah, I've done videos on all the ones I've got, but most of the ones I've got that are post-Soviet are essentially, some of them are Soviet designs that were just built into the 90s, like the PMK-1. And then I've got stuff, like I said, like some of the ones where they're essentially military masks that are slightly modified to sell to civilian industry markets. Again, like I said, it depends what your definition is. So what about the GP7? You've not asked a question yet. You just said you keep saying you've got a question and it's about a GP7, but as I said, ask the question. No, the only thing I've heard about snoz, again, I've not actually been to a local supermarket for a while because I'm not normally the one that does food shopping in the house. And, when I buy stuff, it's normally like MREs or stuff like that I find more interesting. But the only thing I've heard about is like sunflower oil, is because so much sunflower oil is made in Ukraine, like lots of stores are having to swap to alternatives now, like rapeseed oil and all the others. Don't know, David, because I've sold some, so I don't. It's not like it's a number that just always gets bigger. I have sold some. It would definitely be more than 100, like different masks. Yeah, well, that would definitely affect it as well, Dan. As in, yeah, if there's foods made with sunflower oil, those foods will stop production or have to switch to another type of oil because they just won't get enough to do it in bulk. Now, if it's a historical like memento thing, Mr. Misha, I don't really see a problem with it. It's just more if it's being paraded around as like isn't this a great thing for the modern day? They are potent, so although I'm still saving, I'm saving a lot less towards it per month at the moment, also because cost of living means that for that reason. And at the moment, yeah, they're purely unaffordable for enthusiasts because it's got to the point where random regular people with a lot of money are buying them because of, oh my god, nuclear war. I need to buy a little ROC post, those sort of people. Whereas I'd have bought one because I wanted one because it was cool. But when the problem is as well is like every time one goes on sale, it's on loads of news outlets. Like Doomsday Prepper Bunker goes on sale, and then you get all those people that wouldn't otherwise know what an ROC post is start bidding on it. Uh, Probably not in Italy, not with how UK stuff works on that. I think what would be the cheapest thing is to wait a couple of years till the Doomsday type people bought one to realise that they have no need for it. Because look, we didn't get nuked, or if we did, then I'm not in the market for a bunker anyway. So I think it's that sort of thing. Is what will end up happening is a lot of the people that panic buy anything like that now will probably flood the surplus market with them, or relative like housing type markets with them in a couple of years. Yeah, I know he did T55, and I can't do that here, so it's a mute point. Yeah, my cousin Dan has got a container in his garden that he's done up and put electricity in and all that, and it's like really comfy and nice, but it's not a buried one, it's just one on the surface. A bunker, Robert, but again, before all this shit kicked off, which has now made the market impossible. Not really any of your business, is it? Asking how big the house is. Yeah, for that money, I would just put it towards an ROC post, Dan, because if you get one of those for that price and do it up, it's much better built. No, potent. Those have all gone away. I'll still have days like now and again where I feel really tired, but that could be nothing to do with COVID. That could just be something else. But it's not been like I can't get out of bed tired. It's just been days, where I want to go to bed early. I suppose you've got that option, Dan, yeah, but I personally wouldn't want to survive that, or at least a full exchange. Again, it's a cool thing to do if you've got the land and you've got permission, or you just get away with doing it. But yeah, Mr. Misha, it depends. The main thing is distance between you and the fallout. Um, I mean, the blast, if you're in a proper blast, though, there's not going to be much that saves you full stop unless it's a really good deep underground bunker. But what I mean is that because gamma rays work on inverse square law, you need to be a significant distance between you and an outside surface as possible. Because say you just put a shed in your garden, for example, even if there was no force like a blast where you were to knock it down, but fallout rained on it, you'd be too close to an outside wall of a shed at all times, so you'd still die from gamma poisoning. Yeah, I bought one when everything first kicked off, and then it was like a several week long delay to get them because of the fact that everybody was buying them. Yeah, it's just inverse square law you have to look up, and that's why most nuclear bunkers are buried underground, because of the fact that you can then put a certain distance between you and the ground at all times. Whereas if you have a surface built bunker, which do exist, bear in mind the outer rooms you're at far more risk than the inner rooms and stuff like that. Same as if you were in your house. The most middle central room of your house is the most safe in the event of nuclear fallout, because obviously the closer you are to an outside wall, the higher your dose. It's just how radiation works. Right, off the top of my head, Dan, I can't tell you, but Mark Felton did a video the other week on ROC Posts again, and in the Mark Felton video, I have all the stats for it because he read them all out. But I think it's about 14 meters, Dan, as in, or 14 foot or whatever, the actual ladder distance. Yeah, exactly, potent. That's kind of my point. Yeah, he did this video a long time ago, Dan, and then for whatever reason he had to take it down. I think it might have been because he admitted to trespassing on land to take photos of an ROC post. It's about 14 feet then, Flazzy, I think. If you say about 10 feet, it'll be 14 feet. I can remember there was like a 13 or 14 number in it. But yeah, and he's redone the video now, but he's omitted stuff saying he went to a field near him that had an ROC post on or whatever that might have caused him the issues. And he's done it in relation to how Britain's nuclear deterrent and detection worked back in the day compared to now. And at the end of the video, he says, you can now get a text on your phone telling you that there's an incoming nuclear blast as your phone melts in your hand. I'm just going to get rid of the person that was spamming, because obviously if they've been spamming, I've got a question, they never asked a question. Now they're spamming other stuff. They're just trying to be annoying. So goodbye. If you want to ask a question next time, just ask the bloody question. Yeah, definitely do, Snoz. If you actually know who owns the land and can speak to them, it's probably worth asking. But yeah, it's annoying with the UK ones, because at one point we did have a lot, and then a lot of them have just been destroyed. Because again, even the vandalised ones can actually be repaired quite well if you've got the time and will and effort to do it. But the problem is just the ones that have been fully concreted or filled in because of the fact that somebody bought the land and then decided they didn't want it. Can't see the channel description from here, but see you, Flazzy. You can give us a TLDR if you want, Dan, but if it's something that's really offensive, don't bother. Let's have a look. I can open the link at least. Oh, that's cool. So it's not even an ROC post, that one. That's really cool, actually. So is it all an above ground bunker, or is there some underground bits as well? Oh, it says it's an ROC post, or is that an outer bit of it? Oh, there's more photos I can look at. Let's do that. I think they're all just outside pictures, though, aren't they? Or is it that the bunker's on a oh yeah, looking at it, is the underground bit in a different photo? So is it is that an observation brick building? That's cool, Echo. Like a gay pride flag, or is it like an anti thing? I can't see from how small the icon is. Oh, all right. So is it as we would say on the weapon collector stream? Is it an SSW type thing? Like Jesus does not like those type of people, that sort of thing. Yeah, see, that makes sense, Pink Panda, because as I was saying, that the actual, I think it was about 86, the S10 went into service. It's not a Javelin, no, that's an 84. I can't pick it up, sadly, because of YouTube policy. I've got a video on it. I think the US name for it is like M134, isn't it? Or M136? Oh, so is it just some sort of little redneck kid, I guess, then, Flazzy? I don't know. But yeah, that's the 84. It's the one the US uses and quite a few other nations. It's just a single shot disposable launcher. Anyway, see you, Flazzy. But yeah, Snoz, what I'd assume that one is, because I think in one of the last pictures I could see a one of like the little ROC post towers, you know the ones I mean, like the air vent type thing. I'm assuming that it's like a regular ROC post, but it's also one of the ones that on the same bit of land has the brick, you know what you call it, like the brick observation room, whatever they called it, which they started on the early ones and on the later ones they never bothered with. Yeah, you have right of way, don't you? Essentially, whatever they call it. So yeah, but again, I suppose that's bad in some ways if you're a landowner and you keep getting people wander onto your land. Yeah, but if they could also nuke everybody into oblivion as well, so what's the point, Kenny? That's the thing is, if you're somebody that's got shitloads of nuclear weapons, you're probably not going to stop at only military targets. You're probably going to do the in for a penny, in for a pound approach. As long as you put reinforced lenses on it, Pink Panda, it's not a problem. But bear in mind, your eyesight is not going to be retained if a couple of BBs hit your lenses really fast. All right, Rajiv. All right, I'm glad I didn't help him with his questioning, Fuzzy. I thought you're going to bed, or have you gone down the rabbit hole now of looking at homophobic little kids? Um, Fallout doesn't get into bunkers. That's the point of a bunker's design. If you're on about actual proper nuclear bunkers, they have air vents for that reason. You know, you have a filtered air vent or another way of restricting the air coming in, so therefore fallout dust doesn't get in. If that's what you're getting at. Again, I know some bunkers aren't as good as others when it comes to keeping fallout dust out, but you're much better than being on the surface. Saying that, that's the Spanish stuff sounds a bit like here. Because, for example, here, as far as I'm aware, assuming it's not some sort of government place where they put a lot of warnings for you not to go, if you trespass on somebody's land, you basically get asked to leave the first time, and only then does it get a problem. That's not to say that you're not going to have people that will attack you for trespassing on their land or whatever. But for the most part, especially if it's not like you've not had to climb fences or whatever to get in, you know, you've just been wandering through fields and then you go into a private field. All they can really do is tell you to leave the first time, you know. So if you've got no bad intentions and then you just leave, there shouldn't be a problem. Again, we then get laws where it changes if you've got a gun on you, for example, then it becomes armed trespass or, you know, other similar things. As in, when you say like um, When you say military equipment, do you mean like gear, or do you mean like a bunker? Because if I could have a big bunker, I'd like a government-issued bunker that was to keep the most important people in society, according to them, safe. You know, then you could live in your bunker for 600 people or whatever, with enough food, you know, to last you years. Oh, I get you. Yeah. Right, let me have a look at that one. Snores, that's probably a better one. There was a Scottish ROC post for sale, I think, near Aberdeen recently. I didn't see how much it went for, but the reason I didn't even bid on that one was just simply because I thought the distance between me and Aberdeen means that, you know, any restoration work on it would be a hell of a long car journey each way. Yeah, okay, so yeah, what you're seeing there, the red brick building on the left, is, I'm pointing at my screen, but just ignore my finger. The red brick building on the left is an observation room, I believe. So that would be where normally they'd have those, and then there'd be a slit in one of the walls or whatever, or it'd be like a garage or whatever. And the idea is that you could sit in there and look out for aircraft or whatever if it was raining or something. And then obviously on the right, the blue square is the hatch with the little vent next to it. In the middle, you've got that pole sticking up. That's the ionization counter or the Geiger counters like port thing. That, you know, you could, in theory, if you converted it, you could use where you get your like mobile internet antenna. And then the other concrete thing on the right that's grey, that's just the secondary air vent that's at the far side of the bunker. So the main room is the distance between the hatch and that other pillar, because that's where the two vents are for it. So yeah, everything is there. I guess they would maybe have had radar communication stuff. All saying that, I bet that was the group like headquarters one for that. So that would be for triangulation purposes. That building would have been the radio mast one to talk to. Yeah, that would have been probably the building to talk to other like posts. Sadly, in the UK, drunk Ukrainian, they did not build bunkers for the regular people. We were expected to die. In other countries, they did do that, but in the UK, basically, the only people that got bunkers were the government people, and then you had little ROC posts for the people to report on where fallout was going. Yeah, and that's the reason that in Azovstal, the fighters are holding out so well in there, and with, you know, all the protecting all the women and children and that, and the elderly people, because they're in a Soviet nuclear bunker underneath the steelworks, which the Russians can't bomb into oblivion because it's built too bloody well. Well, when you say East, if you mean Russia, not all the current like load of dickheads are in charge. No, when Putin finally shits himself and dies, maybe they realise they need a regime that's not going to turn the country into North Korea. Maybe relations can improve, but the current bunch of cunts in charge in Russia, no. There's the answer to that. Did you see the video of him, Rajiv, the other day when he was with Shoigu and he's gripping on? I'll do the thing he does. So he's gripping like that onto his chair and he's going with his legs. Looks like he's having fucking you know, he looks like he does he's shitting himself in that. And there was another video of him in public recently where he was doing this in the video, like when on camera. No, all right, you can definitely find videos of this online because he definitely looks like he's having. A lot of people think he's got Parkinson's. They could give out commands for nobody to listen to Aleko, I guess. You know, that they sit in the bunker drawing up maps and they're irrelevant because everybody's dead. I'd assume that's how they play it out, and then they just eventually starve when all the food runs out. I think, Oliver, it's because we live on such a small island comparatively, they realised it was pointless just because of how easy it would be to wipe us out. In the 50s, when they started building a lot of the nuclear bunker type stuff, it was when it would be atom bombs delivered by planes. You know, when it got into the MIRV warhead type thing, you know, lots of nuclear missiles essentially coming in with much bigger bombs on them, it was realised how pointless it was. Anyway, I'll be off in a minute because I said I wasn't planning on really doing a stream tonight, but I did get a bit of time to do one. So other than a couple of weird people in the chat, it's been quite a good stream tonight. But yeah, Smalls, hopefully that explanation, if you heard me saying it, explained what all the buildings were. So quickly, I'm saying like the actual ROC post is the bit on the right of that picture, and then the bit on the left, I assume, is like with some radio communications type room, but most of the bunkers didn't have. But yeah, if the inside's in good condition and it's being sold for not too much money, I'd definitely go for something like that. I'm working tomorrow, but not working very long, so it means that I can hopefully get a video filmed in the afternoon or evening or whatever. But I am working Monday to Friday. It's just the weekdays, the shifts are nowhere near as long as the weekends. Well, Oliver, you can keep telling himself that, but if you've seen the state of the rest of his army, nothing fucking works in it. So that would be the one thing you can maybe cling on to for hope, if you wanted to cling on for hope with that sort of thing, is that if the tanks are all rusted and shit and don't work and everything's been stolen, let's hope all the warheads don't work. That would be a good thing, wouldn't it? He presses the button and nothing happens, then shits himself. I don't know if we even have civil defence sirens anymore, Roger. I think there's a video on some of the ones that are still in use in certain places, to do other jobs, like end of factory shifts and stuff like that. But we don't even have like public air raid sirens anymore. Yeah, or just sniffed the rocket fuel or drank it. Right. Anyway, I'll be off. Have a good evening, everybody.